This is EB3, and I'll just come on for a few minutes to give you guys a word of encouragement. You know, there are people in our lives, regardless of where you are, what your economic circumstances are, you know, your family situation, whether you're single, married, whatever your status is. There are people in all of our lives that know us. And there's people in our lives that know that if they call us, if there's any kind of way in our power to help them, we will. But there are times in our lives as we get older, especially those that are getting older, us Gen X generation, we don't need to be selfish, but at the same time we need to understand that we are getting older and we need to be preparing for the time when we can't work anymore. You know, even the Bible says there's a time that comes when no man can do work. And I often say that if you don't plan for hard times, then you will have to depend on somebody. And for me personally, that is not what I want to do. I don't want to have to depend on anybody else, because truthfully, all my life I've only had one person that I could depend on, and even that person at times was a little bit shaky. It was a little bit on shaky grounds. But the truth is, the only one that we can depend on is God. And even though we're supposed to be generous, if you don't take care of yourself, if you don't keep a roof over your head, if you don't pay your own bills, your light bill, your water bill, your rent, or your mortgage, whatever it is that you have, if you don't go to work, or if you don't start a business that's thriving and you can actually pay yourself income out of that business, whether it's monthly or weekly, bi-weekly, however you do it, you are going to be in desperate need, maybe homeless one day. And you know, pretty only can pay bills for so long. You know, I used to say pretty don't pay bills, but if you have a career based on your looks, then yes, it can pay the bills. But you had better have a backup plan, or be very frugal and or wise in handling the money that you do gain. But see, some people's pretty, some women, I'm talking about women right now, some women's pretty is basically depending on a man's money. Now, I'm going to make this very clear. I am not one of these women that say women don't need no man. I'm not. That's not me. That's never going to be me. But I do feel like if you are able-bodied, if you have a mind, if you have a talent for something, then maybe you need to figure out a way to make a living with that. Even if it's just working at a grocery store, you need to have some money of your own, because people can wake up at any given time and say they don't want to be with you anymore. And they don't care if you got 10 children or 0 children. I've seen this happen plenty of times. I know, like in my career, I've been on my job for 31 years, and I've seen women come in there 45 years old, never worked before. Husband never wanted them to work. The husband decided he didn't want to work, want them to want to be in their lives anymore. They didn't want no family life anymore. You know, they decided they ain't gonna pay no child support. They got a divorce. You know, they just left, started a whole other family with another woman, younger, prettier. Life happens, and this is not a bashing. This is that we have to make better choices. Do I believe that if it's any kind of way a woman can be at home with her children, that's what she need to be? Yes, I do. But I think that if you are that woman that is at home with your children and you have a husband that is financially stable to do that, then you need to be finding a way to put some money back for hard times. Not just because he may leave you, but there may be a time in your life as you journey through life that he may not be able to work. You know, people get sick. People get laid off from their jobs. People unfortunately lose their businesses. You know, life happens, is what I'm saying. And so if you're not a wife who is either working to supplement her husband, then you should be wise enough to at least put something back for hard times. Whether it's because he may leave one day, or whether it's you guys as a whole may go through some hard times. But the thing is, the bottom line is, we have to prepare, as my husband used to say all the time, you have to prepare for war in peacetime. And war is not necessarily you fighting physically, but war is you got hard times. You know, a tornado struck. One of y'all got sick. One or both of y'all lost your jobs. You know what I'm saying? He could be on a job where he's on strike for a year. What are you gonna do? If you have not put anything back to prepare for hard times, you can't be upset when somebody else can't pay your bills. It's unfortunate, but everybody has problems. Now, I personally believe in helping if I can, but I've come to the conclusion that if somebody is doing the same, making the same poor decision month after month after month, week after week, before the month out, every month they got to ask you for something, then they're making poor decisions. And what's going to happen is, if you keep on giving them your money, giving them your hard-earned money, going in your savings, going in to what you're trying to save for when you can't work, if you get sick, then yours won't be there. You'll be homeless. And they'll sit back and say, oh, you had it so well. How in the world you get a hard time? They won't think about all the times that you helped them. Listen, I'm telling you, over the last 28 years, over the last 30 years, I've had a lot of ups and downs. And what I've learned is there were times when my husband and I, we had to make loans and stuff like that. But looking back on it in retrospect, there shouldn't have never been a time when we had to do that, because there were times when we had an overflow, I would say. I mean, I'm never going to tell y'all how much money we had, but there was a time when we had an overflow, and then there was a time when we were in deficit. And most of the times we were in deficit, it was because, not necessarily because we helped people, but we helped people ongoing. See, everybody can get in a situation where they need help every now and then, but you should not need help every month. At some point, you should be able to handle your own situation as a grown person. And I know people don't like to hear that, because people don't like to be corrected. But listen, you cannot live your life out of somebody else's pocket. People work hard to get what they need. People work hard to, especially those of us who started out with nothing. And I'm not like wealthy by no means, stretch of imagination. You know, we have to make choices, and sometimes those choices are hard. I just said all that to say we have to be wise in all of our decisions, even when we're helping people, because sometimes our help is not helping people. Sometimes people think that they're getting over on you. If they're asking you every month, even every other month, and they're asking you because they figure if they spend all their money, if they go shopping, and especially if they have a habit of this, then it comes a time when we have to realize that the answer is no. Because you keep on, and you keep on and keeping on, you won't be able to help anybody, including yourself. You're going to need help, and you won't have any help. So, I'm just saying, I'm not saying don't. I'm just saying be wise. Be wise. Sometimes the answer is no. Sometimes the answer is no. And it's unfortunate because sometimes it's going to be the people that you love the most. Sometimes it's going to even be your children at some point. What are they going to do if you die? Just fight over what you left? No, they shouldn't have to. The reason why a lot of people fight over what somebody leave is because they haven't made choices so they can have a better life. Anyway, be wise. Be wise. In all that getting, get understanding. This has been EB3 speaking the truth in love. And I'm out. Be blessed and be a blessing.